Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys my reading list for the summer of 2019. I'm so excited to read through all of these books. I feel like this season I really just listened to what I wanted to read and took in all the things that I've read in the past few years, and this kind of sums up the kind of books that I like, and I feel like I'm gonna like all of them. I always pick up books and I'm like, some of them I'm like, we'll see how this is. Like every single book that I picked up for this, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. So I'm super excited to share them with you guys. If you guys want to follow me on Goodreads, I'll leave my information linked down below. It's just at Renee Amberg. That's where I track my reading. You guys can talk to me, send me book recommendations. I really honestly love Goodreads so much. If any of you guys are new to my reading list for the seasons, I read 8 books for every single season. I read 1 fiction and 1 nonfiction every single month per season. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with June. My fiction book for the month of June is Dark Matter. So I've heard so many good things about this book. Mind-blowing sci-fi about suspense and love. A race to the finish line thriller you have to read. I'm gonna read the back of the books for you guys, and I'll leave them all linked down below if you guys want to pick them up for yourselves and read along with me. That'd be really cool. So it says, are you happy with your life? Those are the last words Jason Desson hears before the kidnapper knocks him unconscious. Before he awakens to find himself strapped to a gurney, surrounded by strangers in hazmat suits. Before a man he's never met smiles down at him and says, welcome back, my friend. In this world he's woken up to, Jason's life is not the one he knows. His wife is not his wife, his son was never born, and Jason is not an ordinary college professor, but a celebrated genius who has achieved something remarkable, something impossible. Is it the life of the others that's the dream? And even if the home he remembers is real, how will Jason make it back to the family he loves? It's a mind-bending thriller about choices, paths not taken, and how far we'll go to claim the lives we dream of. So I think this has to do a lot with paths we take, and you know how there's dimensions in the world, if you guys are into that. It's for every choice that you make, there's that many infinite amounts of possibilities that you've chosen. For example, if you chose to wake up on the right side of the bed instead of the left side of the bed, how would your day change? If you said yes to this opportunity versus if you said no, if you smiled at the stranger or if you didn't, every little infinite amount of possibilities, it's we have that many infinite paths in our lives. And is there different dimensions of that? I think that's what this is about. So I'm really excited to read this one. I feel like this is gonna be so good. As for the June nonfiction book, this one is a little bit different than I'm used to, but I've been really into diet and how diet affects our mindsets and our moods and all that. And as you guys probably know, if you are followers of me, I have struggled with an eating disorder in the past, and I don't know, I just feel like these thoughts have been popping up a lot lately, and I just feel like I want to focus in on enjoying my food rather than thinking about it 24/7, if that makes sense. So I picked up the book French Women Don't Get Fat. It's the secret of eating for pleasure. It has recipes and stuff. I've heard so many things about this book. Don't diet, eat chocolate, drink wine, take long walks, enjoy life, stay slim the French way. A blueprint for building a healthy attitude towards food and exercise. Stylish, convincing, wise, funny, and just in time, the ultimate non-diet book which could radically change the way you think and live, now with more recipes. French women don't get fat even though they enjoy bread and pastry, wine, and regular 3-course meals, unlocking the simple secrets of this French paradox, how they enjoy food while staying slim and healthy. I'm excited to read it. My aunt has actually read this, and I just feel like the mindset behind food is really hard for me to understand, because I'm always so intrigued by food, but sometimes I feel like that's to a disadvantage where I think about it too much, and it's that's not healthy at all. So I hope this book will help me with that. As for July, the fiction book that I've picked up, I've had on my list for so long, and it's always that book that I'm should I add it or should I not? And I always just never add it. And I finally was yes, I'm gonna read it because I'm just drawn to it. And that is the book What Alice Forgot. So this one is actually written by the same author who wrote Big Little Lies, which is the HBO series with Shailene Woodley and Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon. That book I literally couldn't put down. It was such a good book. So hopefully I'm thinking that if her writing style is the same, I'll feel the same way about this book. Alice Love is 29, crazy about her husband Nick, and pregnant with their first child. So imagine Alice's surprise when she comes to the top floor of a gym. She hates the gym and is whisked off to the hospital where she discovers the honeymoon is truly over. She's actually 39 years old, has 3 kids, and is getting a divorce. That knock on her head has misplaced 10 years. Now Alice must piece together the events of the lost decade and find out how it's possible to reconstruct her life at the same time. She needs to figure out why her sister hardly talks to her and how it is that she becomes one of those super skinny moms with really expensive clothes. Ultimately, Alice must discover whether forgetting is a blessing or a curse and how to start over. Like, can you freaking imagine waking up and like your whole life is completely different? You're like, what the hell? And you lost 10 years of your memory. It's like, how do you live like that? There's actually like, there's a movie with Channing Tatum and Rachel McAdams. I can't think of the name of it right now, but like she kind of does the same thing. They get in a car accident and she wakes up and she like doesn't remember anything, and she doesn't even remember like her husband, which is Channing Tatum. And there's like so many like memes out there that are like, if I woke up and Channing Tatum told me he was my husband, I wouldn't like second guess it. Like I'd be like, oh really? Yeah, I knew that. You know, like it's Channing Tatum. So anyway, that's for July. As for the nonfiction book for July, this one has been on my list again, and I just think it's such a perfect book for the summer. It's actually one of Oprah's favorite books. She actually says that she leaves this book on her nightstand and will read through it every single day and every single night. So if Oprah says it, like, I'll do it, you know? She always has such good book recommendations. She's the one that introduced me to Eckhart Tolle, which is like my favorite author ever. The book is The Book of Awakening by Mark Depot. Having the life you want by being present to the life you have. Oprah said, a year's supply of inspiration every day and the perfect gift for yourself and your friends. Book of Awakening by poet and teacher Mark Depot provides small doses of what really matters. Simple truths and stories of everyday lives, plus inspiration from the great wisdom tradition. Each day's entry is accompanied by a commonplace and profound practice designed to help us live the life we want by being present to the life we have. I know it's like a daily book, but I'm probably gonna read this like all in July. Apparently it's life-changing, so I'm excited to read this one. August? June, July, August, yeah. August book, fiction book is The Silent Patient. This one right now is on like bestsellers list, like everyone's talking about it, so I'm like, I have to pick it up. It's a psychological thriller, which you guys know is like my jam when it comes to fiction books. It says the pages will burn the friction from your hands turning them. Like, that just speaks to my soul. Alice Bernstein's life is seemingly perfect. A famous painter married to an in-demand fashion photographer. She lives in a grand house overlooking a park in one of London's most desirable areas. One evening, her husband Gabriel returns home late from work and Alicia shoots him 5 times in the face and then never speaks another word. Alicia's refusal to talk or give any kind of explanation turns a domestic tragedy into something far grander, a mystery that captures the public imagination and casts Alicia into notoriety. The price of her art skyrockets, and she, the silent patient, is hidden away from the tabloids and spotlight at the Grove, a secure psychiatric unit in North London. Criminal psychotherapist Theo Faber is captivated by Alicia's story and jumps at the opportunity to work with her. His determination to get her to talk and unravel the mystery of why she shot her husband takes him down a path more unexpected, more terrifying than he could ever imagine. A search for the truth that threatens to consume him. Shocking, thought-provoking, and deeply twisted, The Silent Patient is a spellbinding psychological thriller about violence, obsession, and the dark side of passion. What I'm kind of getting from just the summary of this is that she did it for her art. You know, like anything for art. And that seems like weird and twisted, and it just seems very interesting to me. So I picked it up. As for the nonfiction for August, you guys are gonna be so excited. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I've actually never read this. He is my favorite author, like I just stated. He changed the way I think about life. My whole perspective on life has changed because of him. And if you guys used to watch a lot of my Manifestation Wednesday videos, I like got a lot of inspiration behind those videos from him and his teachings. He's very like realistic and real about things. He's not like all magical and whimsical and goofy, like what's the word, fake, I guess, about spirituality. Like there's 2 sides of spirituality. I feel like the people who sell it and make a profit from it and people who actually live their life and like try to help people. Like I feel like he's like a monk, am I saying that correctly? He just like deeply is so real, and his teachings are so powerful. The books that I've read from him are Stillness Speaks and A New Earth, and those are just like so good. So I thought I'm gonna pick up The Power of Now, and hopefully it's as good as the other ones. It's a guide to spiritual enlightenment. Over 5 million copies sold. Again, one of Oprah's like big things. Like she has a quote here on the back. To make the journey into the power of now, we will need to leave our analytical mind and its false created self, the ego, behind. From the very first page of this extraordinary book, we move rapidly into a significantly higher altitude where we breathe a lighter air. We become connected to the indestructible essence of our being, the eternal, ever-present one life beyond the myriad forms of life that are subject to birth and death. Along the journey is challenging. Eckhart Tolle uses simple language and an easy question and answer format to guide us. And yeah, he's just amazing. I'm so excited to read this, but I feel like once I read this, my mind is going to be shifted into like the Eckhart Tolle mindset again, and I'm just going to be like so one with like myself, you know, like, so I'm really excited to read this. As for August, so this one I have heard so many good things about, and it's actually a series, so I'm reading the first one at the end of the summer, that way I can see if I like it and read it for fall, and that is the Hunger Games series. I've seen this movie, like I already know what goes on, but apparently the books are really good, so I picked it up. Winning means fame and fortune, losing means certain death. The Hunger Games have begun. In the ruins of a place once known as North America lies the nation of Panem, a shining capital surrounded by 12 outlying districts. The capital is harsh and cruel and keeps the districts in line by forcing them all to send one boy and one girl between the ages of 12 and 18 to participate in the annual Hunger Games, a fight to the death on live TV. 16-year-old that's like so America, isn't it? Like, we love violence. 16-year-old Katniss Everdeen regards it as a death sentence when she steps forward to take her sister's place in the games. But Katniss has been close to dead before, and survival for her is second nature. Without really meaning to, she becomes a contender. But if she is to win, she will have to start making choices that weigh survival against humanity and life against love. The movie was so good. I thought it was such an interesting concept and shows like the obsession that people have, especially the media, with violence, and they just like seeing people suffer. I don't know, I just found it like very intriguing and interesting, and so I really liked it, and I'm excited to read through the books, and hopefully it'll be like Harry Potter to me, where it's like I just like dive into a whole new world and I really like it. So yeah, that's the fiction for August. As for the nonfiction, this one I have heard so many good things about too, and I've heard that it's super life-changing, and the person Osho wrote it, and apparently he's just like a genius, and so I picked up his book, The Art of Living and Dying. So this one says, Osho responds to these questions and many forms of those who find themselves inexplicably attracted to the subject of mortality, as well as from those who are facing their imminent end, and from their carers. He does not simply show how our fear of death is based on a misunderstanding of its nature, he also shows how dying is a tremendous opportunity for inner growth and how death is the most sacred of mysteries. So I'm excited to read it in the sense of like understanding. I think like it helps you understand the circle and how we are, if that makes sense, like life to death, and from life to death, and to kind of like understand it and its importance. And I don't know, I don't really know what to expect from this book, but I've heard it's just life-changing, so I picked that up. It literally says on the back, in order to embrace life fully, you have to accept the reality of death. Is there life after death? If I drop my beliefs, what will I have to hold on to in the face of death? Am I overwhelmed so often with incredible sadness about leaving this life? What can I do? A recent visit to the doctor confronts me with the prospect of dying in the not so distant future. How can I respond through celebration as you suggest? So I don't know, I feel like that one's going to be very life-changing. That is the end of my summer reading list. Again, I'll have all the books linked in the description box if you guys want to pick them up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and go read.